This is the busiest lifeboat in the UK. Sitting next to the embankment, Tower Lifeboat Station has had more than 400 call-outs so far this year.
Tower. Person to water Chelsea, yeah, on our way.
This is the second one of the day. The Coast Guard alerts them that someone is in the water.
Person in the water does sort of get your blood pumping. We need to be there quick.
There are always at least 3 people on the lifeboat, a full-time paid member of staff and 2 volunteers. But today, trainee Hannah is also on board.
I'm one of the newest recruits at Tower. I've been here for 6 months, so I'm now riding what we call seat 4, which means I'm the 4th person on the lifeboat. I'm essentially a trainee. I've been at home with my kids for the last 10 years, and then to all of a sudden say, no, I want to go and be lifeboat crew, and I've been accepted to lifeboat crew. It was a big change and a big surprise for my family.
Hannah and the team get to the man within a few minutes, but he's already being helped by a passing boat.
I'll get a blanket.
So they take him to a nearby ambulance.
Does that count as a life save then?
Not for us, no. Not for me anyway. Not the local vessel hold of him, and then a private boat. So it's a person assisted, that one.
The RNLI is a charity. Its work is funded by donations and it's mainly staffed by volunteers. When they're not out on the river, there's plenty to do to keep busy. And for Hannah, that means practicing. She has to complete several assessments before she qualifies.
23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. There's 10 or so that I have to pass, and I've done about 50% of them at the moment. It's going okay, but it is nerve-wracking.
Today, Steve is overseeing her training. He's a full-time member of staff and a paramedic. All volunteers have to know what to do in a medical emergency because they make up about a quarter of call-outs.
It could be anything from someone who's got their leg trapped between a 400-ton boat and a barge, or it could be someone having an asthma attack.
It's the end of a long day for this crew, but a call could come in at any time, so the station is manned 24 hours a day. At 7 o'clock, station manager Kevin takes over from Craig.
Coast Guard tonight is Rod. There's local traffic control at Blackfriars tonight, so you need to be on the alert for that. And if you're happy, I'll stand down and you two can take over.
Craig's finished his shift, but he's staying here tonight. He's one of 10 paid members of staff who work 4 days on and 4 days off.
You're away from your friends, family, but yeah, it's comfortable. It's home from home, really, so I spent half my life here. So this little room is where I reside. Yeah, right in the centre of London, yeah, making a difference to Londoners. It's the best place in the world.
This is one of 4 stations along the river. They were opened in 2002 after a long campaign to get lifeboats on the Thames. Margaret Lockwood Croft started an action group after her son Sean died in the Marchioness disaster.
I spent 11 years campaigning to get new laws and regulations on the River Thames, 43 laws altogether, but also to get the lifeboats on the River Thames because they had none.
Sean was one of 51 people who lost their lives on the 20th of August 1989. They were celebrating a birthday on the Marchioness. In the early hours, a large dredger, the Bow Bell, hit the party boat and it was pushed underwater. It was later described like a bicycle being run over by a lorry.
25 bodies have been recovered and it's believed that 38 of the passengers are still missing.
Many families were left without news for days, so Margaret left her home in Hampshire and went to the police station in London.
I said, I know my son was on that boat that went down in the River Thames, and he just yelled, oh, any of you lot got a Lockwood Croft on your list, and that's how I found out.
A public inquiry found poor lookouts on both vessels were to blame. It made a number of recommendations to improve safety on the Thames, including the new lifeboat stations. Since then, there have been almost 15,000 call-outs, and more than 580 lives have been saved by the 4 stations along the river.
Probably the one job in my mind that sticks out the most. We could just see this head visible just below Blackfriars Rail Bridge. His head just popped up that last gasp of breath, and then the lads managed to get hold of him, clamped onto his arm and pulled him in. There we go. It is the closest I've ever seen to anyone just drowned before my eyes. Hannah, you observe, just watch their backs, okay?
Full-timers like Craig work alongside 50 volunteers. Hannah is halfway through her training, which will prepare her for this physically and mentally demanding job.
It is nerve-wracking and daunting to think that someone's life could be in your hands or in your hands along with the team that you're working with. But I hope that with the training and skills that I'm getting here and with the teamwork and support of my crewmates, that one day I will be part of saving a life on the River Thames.
Crew members are offered counselling or support from their colleagues after difficult call-outs.
We find that talking's the best thing for it, and then I will follow up the rest of the crew for the next few weeks just to make sure their behaviours are normal, they're okay, they're coping.
Inside, Hannah's shift is almost finished.
I never know when there's going to be a shout, so we try and take the opportunity to eat when we can.
She's been here for 10 hours and it's been quiet. But things can change in seconds. And a couple of hours before the end of the shift, the phone rings. Someone's in the water. They don't know how or why, but they need to get there urgently.
The River Thames is extremely dangerous. There's no other really way to describe it. If you find yourself in the river, you've got seconds, you've not got minutes. Cold water shock sets in. With that, your risks of drowning have tripled.
A large proportion of call-outs are to people that have tried to self-harm.
Hands on!
You've got a personal responsibility for that individual. You are his only hope.
I got your hand up.
When they get to the man, he's swallowed lots of water.
Whatever problems there are, we can get that sorted, so don't you worry, okay, mate? We'll make sure you're looked after, okay? All right, we care about you and other people do, all right, mate? All right? Yeah?
He's taken to hospital by ambulance. For the crew, it's another life saved, and for Hannah, it's a first.
I've only just come off the boat. I still feel quite emotional because that was the first time I've done that. I was very proud to be part of the crew and very pleased and happy that we managed to save a life today.
Sadly, not everyone can be saved, but since it's been here, the lifeboat has made a huge difference.
There are ones that have stuck with me over the years. Unfortunately, it is something that I have had to deal with quite a lot, having been doing this for such a long time. The moments that I remember the most, that has always stayed with me, was that we had a letter and a card sent to us at the station a few years ago, and it was from a 14-year-old girl and her 8-year-old brother, and we'd rescued their mum from the river, and she was saying it's a thank you because her mum got the help that she needed after that rescue. How could you not feel emotion about that?
Sometimes we miss people by seconds, sometimes we get them. So I think for your own sake, it's best just to let everything go.